Hello and welcome to the Lucky Hit Podcast, episode 94.
Yay!
Hello, everyone.
Take 2. I accidentally streamed this to the wrong link, and it was all a bit weird. But yeah, we're here. Regrettably, I'm instantly regretting that we're doing this podcast today on the 5th of November. Mm-hmm. I should have remembered, but I didn't remember. So yeah, if you hear a lot of popping going off, a lot of pops and bangs and fizzes, it's because people are still doing fireworks outside because it is Guy Fawkes night. In the
It's
UK.
either that or my chair.
Yeah. Well, fireworks display's rubbish. It's just a chair falling over.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah, welcome.
We should be streaming on the 5th of Dismember.
Yeah, all that. Just gonna need to tweet out. Yeah, so welcome. I'm trying to think. I'm losing my train of thought. I believe we're streaming to the right thing now. I hope so.
Yeah, it's coming up for me on YouTube.
Yay! Right, cool, brilliant. It's been a bit of a people do this tonight, but yeah, we're here. We're doing this thing. Quick update about the YouTube channel. You probably noticed I've been uploading a couple streams that were from my personal Animated AF Twitch on the YouTube channel, including the Amstrad CPC one. I've got a little update about the Amstrad in a bit actually, and also the one about the Sonic ROM hack, the hacking contest. So, as I've said in the previous podcast, or one of the previous podcasts, basically the YouTube channel is not going to go stagnant because if we have any streams basically that we're particularly proud of, they will end up on the YouTube channel. You know, if they're gaming related, obviously. But yeah, so Lucky Hit is still chugging along. Even if we have got all our little personal Twitch channels going on, there will still be content, so I guess look forward to that. I mean, for example, at the moment we are streaming this to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. It's on the Lucky Hit Live Twitch channel, which is just kind of like a dumping ground for stuff we do live on Lucky Hit. So yeah, you know, stuff we do as a group, really, I guess. Mm-hmm. So like, for example, if we ever did another like marathon strip, we could probably have some way of integrating both the Lucky Hit channel and our personal channels or something, I don't know. But yeah, basically that's all I have to say update-wise about Lucky Hit. I guess we should get on to what we've been playing. I don't know who wants to go first.
Did we introduce ourselves?
I don't know. Did we?
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did. If we didn't, then hello, I'm Gagaman.
Hello, I'm CherryT.
I'm Murry Curry.
I'm Hunk Thunder with fireworks.
And you guys can tell them who I am, because I don't feel like saying nothing.
He's Big Elk.
Big Elk, don't worry. I'm not
That was probably really loud.
He's big and an elk.
That's the one. Yeah, but as we say, if you hear fireworks, if it pops off too much here, I think it's calmed down for the moment, but like if it pops off too much here, I'll mute my mic so you don't have to hear it too much, because it might end up being a bit of an audible nightmare. So yeah, so I guess we shall start this thing how we always start these things, with what we've been playing. I don't know who wants to go first.
You know who wants to go first. We should discuss this ahead of time.
We should, yeah.
I don't think it matters.
On that note, I'll show go first.
Yeah, jump in.
Yep, as usual.
Just
Animal Crossing. Yeah. Animal Crossing. Halloween season is over, unfortunately. However, all my decorations are still standing. They're never going away. Ever.
It's Halloween forever.
Yeah. Forever creep and forever spook.
Forever spook.
Halloween doesn't have to end until you say it does.
Yeah. Also been playing some Super Mario Brothers 35 live on the stream as well. And yeah, the other night I actually got a win on
wow.
Nice.
On the
Nicely done.
special courses, which basically everyone drops out like flies because it is that hard. Because it's
Oh really? I haven't played that game for a while and I haven't tried those events.
yeah, the theme was like Halloween, so it was in all the dark levels, i.e. World 1-2, where it's underground, 1-4, Bowser's Castle, and so on like that. But yeah, because there were so hard levels, everyone was dropping out pretty much straight away. Even me. Took me about 8 attempts before I could actually get a decent run.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for Nintendo. Whereas I have actually dug out my Xbox 360 this week.
Oh yes.
Just to give a little bit of variety to my streams. I've got half the games I actually had. I could have played Brink, but I didn't really want to. Being it's the worst game I've ever played.
What?
Yeah, Brink.
Oh yes, I remember that one.
Yeah,
flop.
I
that
remember the title. That's about all I remember about Brink is the fact that it existed.
Basically, you're playing as it's a first-person shooter, but you're the drunkest gunman ever. So like your whole screen is swaying left to right, and I just couldn't play it. But games
On the
I have
brink of vomiting.
Yeah, exactly. Games I have been playing. Outrun 2.
Yeah.
That was a treat.
Yeah, I forgot how good that game is. I know it's good, but
so good. It's like
considering
it's probably one of my top
decide to put it on again.
3 racing games of all time, probably. If you can call it a
the thing
racing
is-
game, a driving game, a cruising game.
Yu Suzuki's
Drive
come after
around like a dick to impress your girlfriend simulator.
it. Yeah, unless she beats you up and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a 17-year-old game, it still holds up really well.
It probably sounds weird to say this, but I feel like that's one of those few games that is kind of timeless, even though it's obviously a 3D game, so 3D graphics age after a while, but just the way they designed that game's visuals, like, it just feels timeless. Like, you could crank that up to 4K and it would still look good.
Exactly. My only problem with it was the frame rates kept like dipping up and down. Sometimes it'd be like 20 frames a second, and then shoot straight up to 60.
Do you think that might have had something to do with the backwards compatibility of the original Xbox version? Or
yeah, it most likely is because I seem to recall playing on my original Xbox and it was flawless. But
yeah,
there were some sounds which I don't know if it picked up on the stream. It just didn't sound quite right. So like the countdown timer, so like every other note was like really high pitched and loud.
Oh right.
So yeah.
So it's another version of Outrun on the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility that has issues with sound.
Yeah. Exactly. I also did find Shenmue 2 for Xbox as well in my collection.
Speaking of which, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute because I'm quite jealous. Yeah, it's a bit redundant now I've got the Steam, PS4 and Xbox One versions, but yeah, it's nice to have it in my collection. But yeah, I'm sort of getting all these 360 and original Xbox games out of the way because next week everything changes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
Upgrade.
So yeah, that's been my week this week.
Oh, okay. I hope you don't mind. I think I'll pop on next because I haven't really got that much. Because most of the stuff I've been playing has been on stream, including I've decided to start doing Splunky 2 and Splunky 1 every other day on my Twitch channel, as opposed to just doing it once a week, just so I can get some proper practice in, try and do the dailies every other day and just try and get better at 2. And I feel like I'm discovering more stuff about it each time I play it, so that's good. I feel like I am getting better. Some of my dailies on 2 have actually been quite good lately. Like the one I did the other day, I think it was like the furthest I've got in the game on a daily, so I was quite proud of that.
Yeah,
my dailies on the first game, not so much. I keep dying in the first 12 for some reason. And I did get 88th today, which I wasn't expecting. I think there's less people playing Spelunky 1 daily challenges now, so I guess I'm going up higher just by default of that, because I guess all the experts are playing the sequel now. But yeah, it's nice jumping back and forth between jumping forth between the two. I've also been playing a game on my Switch that got reduced to just over £1. It's a game called 1993 Shenandoah. So I think I may have talked about this. I think I talked about playing a demo of this on the podcast some months back. But yeah, it came up for like £1 zone. So I was like, I enjoyed the demo. I'll grab that. It's quite a short game. I think I beat it in just under an hour, like in total. But what was really cool about this shmup is I thought it was just a game going for the Amiga aesthetic and nailing it. And I was like, wow, this really feels and looks and sounds like an Amiga game. But then it turns out, I looked it up, and this game actually was a cancelled Amiga game that they had the source code for and decided to finish. So that explains it. I mean, it's clearly not an Amiga game because, for starters, it's widescreen and there's a lot of particle effects that happen when you shoot things that wouldn't be possible on the Amiga. And they've added some bells and whistles to make it more like a modern game, I suppose. But the graphics and the audio and everything about it just screams Amiga. It's got that sort of Bitmap Brothers aesthetic to it, like Chaos Control and all those kind of games. Really fun game. There's like the shop, and you can basically apply 4 different weapons to your ship. You can buy different ships and sell them and upgrade each weapon. So you can basically have all kinds of firepower coming off your ship at the same time. So I think the way I did it is, because your default is to just shoot forward, but there's enemies that come at you from all angles. I basically had the ones that shoot up and down and backwards as well, and I basically just had firepower coming from every angle just to make sure. That was fun. That's a really cool game. It's quite short because it's a 16-bit era shmup. It's not supposed to be a long game. It's only about 6 or 7 levels, something like that. I did have a couple sound issues with the game though, where the sound effects just kept disappearing for some reason. I'm not really sure why that kept happening, but for some reason, like, the sound effects would just occasionally on levels, there just wouldn't be next to any sound effects, and then suddenly there would be again. But otherwise, I think it's still on sale. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, like, if you like Amiga style shmups, that's definitely one to look into. And I was talking about the Amstrad CPC that we inherited. I think it was last week or the week before.
A couple weeks ago.
Quick update about that. I've actually got a SCART cable, like a powered SCART cable, arrived just yesterday, and now I can play the games in colour on any TV. So that's really cool, because basically it needs a SCART cable that also has a plug, so you can actually power the Amstrad because of the way the plug on the Amstrad plugs into the monitor, and then the monitor plugs into the Amstrad. So you need a plug to go with it. I have been going back to some of the games, the ones in particular, the ones where the graphics were a little bit hard to make out. Like, for example, Bomb Jack 2 was almost incomprehensible on the green monitor because it was clearly made with colour in mind. And when you play that on a full colour, like CRT or any way you want, you can see like full colour backgrounds, so it makes sense now. And Space Harrier's a lot easier now as well, because even though everything is like wireframe, the wireframes are actually coloured to what they are. So, like, for example, when you encounter that first boss, you can actually see his head now. Like, his head is green and the rest of it was white, I think.
That's the one I want to see, actually, in colour, because I was really impressed with that one.
Oh, God, it's still incredibly hard, though. If you thought you hit trees a lot in the arcade game, just once you played this version, you're almost every single one of your deaths is going to be the trees. Like, you get hit by a tree, and then you get up, and then another tree immediately hits you, like, over and over again. The trees are deadlier than the enemies. You can actually avoid the enemies quite easy, but the trees just come at you so quickly. Funnily enough, even though I've got this SCART cable and I can play the games in colour now, I'm not getting rid of that green monitor because I really like it. Like, I think it's really cool. I've actually purchased another thing from the same people on eBay now, an adapter that will actually let me plug anything else into the green monitor. And there's a reason for this, and I'm going to put this up on the screen real quick. I just want to show you this. This isn't an Amstrad monitor, but this is like a an Apple II display. This is Res running on an Apple II monitor. Look how cool that looks. I'm doing this.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Looks
I
almost
really.
like an ultrasound monitor.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I don't know if it's going to look the same on the Amstrad monitor, but I saw that and I was like, okay, I need to try this. It was only £12. I've got the cable.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, this is going to happen. In fact, I'm tempted to just, if it works really well, I'm tempted to just do a stream called ASMR Res CPC and then just play through Res on that monitor. if it works well. I don't know if it's going to look good on that particular monitor. I don't know if it's going to be similar to the Apple II one. But either way, I just want to see what, like, for example, Mega Drive games look like on this thing. Just cause. Because I'm sad.
Why not?
Yeah. Other than that, other than Spelunky and also those Sonic ROM hacks last week or earlier in the week, that's pretty much what I've been playing.
Cool. Who's the next? I didn't mean to sound Italian there. Who is the next?
Rather speak bird.
All right, I'll go next.
After that
I've been playing a lot, so I'm only going to cover a few things really. But I have officially started my Twitch November Road to Affiliate Challenge, where I'm trying to play through 30 games and stream every day for 30 days. So this is day 5, and I'll be streaming straight after this with something nice and short because I am so tired. But I've already gotten through 8 games on that, so I'll just very quickly mention what those 8 games are, because I don't feel like I need to sort of go into it too much because they're all on stream. Yeah. So I kicked things off with Double Dragon Neon, and I forgot just how amazing that game actually is.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the soundtrack.
Oh, yes, Double Dragon Neon.
Yeah.
Amazing soundtrack, by the way.
I had
Just so you know,
blast.
if you buy it on Bandcamp, the songs actually have the lyrics in the files.
Oh.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I've got
I
that,
did buy it on Bandcamp, but I didn't know that.
Look in the file properties for the songs that have lyrics.
I will. That's pretty cool. So I started off with that, and I'm really glad I did because that kicked it off with a real bang. And then the next day I did a VR stream because I still had my sort of wires and everything out for the Halloween stream we did when we did Resident Evil 7 in VR, which again came out amazing. Like I purposely haven't played in VR on Resident Evil 7 until I was going to do it on stream. I wanted my reactions to be my genuine reactions. And it turns out that when I get terrified, I just giggle like a schoolboy. Like I don't know if you remember several times in that stream when things made me sort of jump, I just laughed a lot, hysterically. So so I still had so the VR stream I did was Accounting Plus, which we've done a bunch of times on this channel now. But there's been some updates since, so there was a few sort of new surprises in there. And then we did Trover Saves the Universe again, but this time I played through on Joppo mode, which is where they just swap out the main character.
Sorry. You can't just say Joppo. You can't just say it.
Oh yeah, sorry. I played on Joppo mode.
Joppo.
That's my highlight of that mode. It's just when every time someone says the word Trover, they just get dubbed with Joppo. And sometimes it's really fast, isn't it? When they say Trover, they just go Joppo. So yeah, I played through that, and then what was day 3? Was that the Sonic day?
That was, yeah.
Yes, it was. So Sonic 3 was the big one. I'm still recovering from it. I did. I played through 4 Sonic games in a row. I played through 1, and then I did CD, and then I did 2, and then 3 and Knuckles, and it was 5.5 hours of just constant Sonic back to back. So yeah, that was 7 games down at that point. And then last night I did the DLC for the Final Station, which is basically a game's length on its own, really. It's called The Only Traitor, and I skipped a load of dialogue and various bits and bobs. It still took me over an hour and a half, I think it was.
Something like that.
So yeah, that was meant to be one of the quicker options. So yeah, that's what I've been doing on the stream tonight. I'm hoping to play A Knight's Tale, which is that sort of prequel Final Fantasy 15 game they made. It was kind of like a sort of 16-bit scroller beat 'em up. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't think I have actually.
It's quite interesting. It was a free game. It was just something they put out as like I said, like a sort of prequel to sort of whet your appetite for Final Fantasy 15, and it was quite fun.
Okay.
So I remember that
actually,
being
yes,
short.
I have heard of this. It kind of had like Super Nintendo looking graphics.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I think I remember that coming out, but yeah.
I remember it being quite short, but I hope it's not going to be one of those things where it actually turns out to be a lot longer than I thought. Because, like I say, I'm exhausted at the moment.
Yeah,
I need to do that and then have an early night.
You've got a whole month of this ahead of you still.
Exactly, and the plan is I'm not just going to be doing short games either. Like I'm just trying to get a lot of games under my belt at the moment, so I can tackle some bigger games. Because what I really want to do, I want to end this month on some big games. Those big games are going to be all 3 Shenmue.
Yeah.
so they're not short.
No.
So yeah, there's one other thing I've been playing, and I'm going to have to apologise when I say this, but I have actually been playing lots of Streets of Rage 4.
Oh, you have?
I was going to be doing it my first playthrough blind on stream, but when I heard a couple of you guys saying, "Oh, watch out, the difficulty is quite intense," I was thinking, "Oh no, I might have to scope this game out to see if I can actually do it for this challenge." Because I don't want to spend the whole night basically getting stuck on a game and not finishing it, and then being really behind on this challenge. So unfortunately, that led to me scoping it out. And by scoping it out, I've played through it about 4 times now.
Wow. Nice.
Dedication.
All I can say is ye of little faith, because my first playthrough, I wish I was streaming it, because it went pretty well, actually. I played as Axel, and I got 1 game over on that level where you go up against the DJ.
Oh, yes.
And then
the one with the best music, you mean?
My favourite song is actually when you're going up the lift in the Wide Tower. That
one's good too. Song. I feel like the second half of that game is just banger after banger.
Oh, really absolutely, yeah. And I was surprised to actually beat the final boss first go, because when I played through again as Blaze, I'm obviously not very good with, because I cannot beat that on normal mode as Blaze. I have to go down to easy mode.
Yeah.
But with Axel, and definitely Cherry, who, by the way, is ridiculously overpowered.
She's just got so many, like, little combos she can do. Oh,
her moveset is incredible, and of course she can run. I don't know why they took that away from Axel and Blaze. You know, because
she's the only one that can now, so she could just dash at people and do that, like...
Is she the only one?
She's got... I think she might be the only one, outside of some unlockable data, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember the developers saying that apparently running was not a very well-liked feature in Streets of Rage 3, but
really?
I don't remember what their reasoning was.
Because that's what put me off a little bit at first. I was thinking, like, seriously, no running? Because I love getting free, and I also like that dodge that you can do when you double tap up and down.
I thought it felt like a step back to me when they took that, when they said they were putting that stuff in. But
same here, I was a bit taken back at first. So when I just sort of tried to do a double tap, but like I think they're called blitz moves when you double tap and attack. As Cherry, and she started running, my face just lit up. I was like, yes, someone can do it. So what I've done is I've played through as those 3 characters at the moment, and I'm thinking of sort of in my free time, sort of playing as the other 2 Streets of Rage 4 characters, and I'm purposely not touching the retro characters. That's what I'm going to do for my initial reaction on stream.
Okay, cool.
But like you say, there has been some stuff that I wish
if you're going to do that, also make sure to put retro soundtrack on.
Oh, is that in the option?
It's an option, yeah. It's literally in the options. Just tick that off. It's unlocked from the get-go. It's not like an unlockable. It's just there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I want to see your reaction to some of the songs they've picked.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'm not going to touch that or the characters themselves until the stream. But, like you say, there were a few things that I really did react to quite sort of positively, like when you're fighting that boss and she calls the police on you. And I was just like, oh! That's a shame that you won't see my first reaction to that. But, I did want to scope it out and make sure. And I'm kind of glad I did, actually, because I now know what characters I'm sort of... good with, and which ones I'm not going to flag.
Also, you've had the privilege of playing the game after the big patch, like after the balance patch,
oh.
because Axel was kind of terrible when the game first came out. He was really hard to use. He was quite slow. Yeah, they rebalanced a lot of things, especially with Axel, I think, and it really made a big difference to making the game a bit more palatable, I guess.
Oh, that's some of my sort of problems with this game. Is I like a combo system, don't get me wrong. I think that's cool. I like how you can rack up some big combos in this game. What I don't like are combo systems that are intrinsically, like, tied to the score, the ranking system, so you don't get a decent win.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And secondly, this is Streets of Rage, right? Everyone knows Streets of Rage is renowned for having some of the cheapest enemies in video game history. So it's not fair to have a combo system in a game where enemies go, nah, bollocks. Just stop your combo instantly. And that's what happens all the time. I got like, last night, I got a 99 combo.
Gets broken, yeah.
Yeah. I got a 99 combo racked up. It was going amazing. I was my heart was pumping because I wanted to get that achievement for getting like the out of this world combo, which I've not been able to do at all. I finally got it all the way up to 99, and then and all of all enemies, it was a Galcia. Just went that. It just gave me a little slap. And you see that word "break" come up, and your heart just breaks.
Another option that you might want to look into is there is an option to shrink that combo text, because I think it is obnoxiously huge.
It's
on
pretty
default.
big, isn't it?
Yeah, there is an option to make it a lot smaller. It just like shrinks into the corner instead.
Yeah. My other problem with it is the sheer difficulty of it. Even on like my sort of peak at the moment is normal mode. Like I can't even survive in hard mode. Like normal mode is
same here.
And I can't even get through it with every character either.
Yeah. No, I'm exactly the same. Easy was fine, but normal, I haven't beaten the final boss on normal yet.
Oh, it's so hard, yeah. And that's the thing, there's 3 difficulties above that, isn't it? There's hard, hardest, and then mania.
Yeah, I ain't going to be touching those, I don't think.
I'm going to try, but I'm probably going to tear my hair out. So those are my 2 problems. One, the combo system that is like basically necessary to get through the game and get all all the decent ranks and all that kind of stuff. Like I think that kind of it can't explain it, but it annoys me. Having a ranking system is fine as long as it isn't so punishing. Yeah, well, I've had some terrible ranks, and I thought I've been doing all right, but it's just because I can't rack up combos with cheap enemies who can fly across the screen at will, like those Big Ben characters and things like that. They can just like. As soon as you get them on the floor, when they get back up again, obviously they have a few iframes and all that, but then they do that thing where they fly across the screen with that big jump, and it just homes in on you. It's just, I'm sorry, but no. and the difficulty. But other than that, it's an amazing looking game, and the animation is top. It's just incredible. It's Lizard Cube anyway, so I was expecting it to be fantastic. And soundtrack's great, and it's full of that Streets of Rage charm. It's a worthy 4th edition to the series, I'll say that.
Definitely. Absolutely.
So
they nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. So look forward to that at some point this month. I'm going to be playing through that as probably Streets of Rage 1 Axel, because that's my favourite.
Nice.
You know me, I've got a huge soft spot for the first game. It's my favourite one. I know most people like 2, and I understand why, because it's amazing. But for me, I'm a stickler for 1.
I grew up with 1 as well. I had it on the Mega CD, and I didn't actually have the sequels until I was a bit older. So,
yeah, I think what it is with 2, I love the gameplay of 2 a lot, but it's the enemy designs kind of get on my nerves a bit. Like when they started introducing robots and things like that, I just thought it got a bit silly. That's kind of what I like about 4. Have you noticed that's a bit more grounded? There's
a couple little there's like those Android guys with like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Stuff,
but compared to the stuff you see in 2 and 3, it's actually quite tame. So I think that's what I like about it. I think that was my only thing with 2. Like if 2's gameplay carried on being a little bit more grounded, and had like sort of more down to earth enemies like 1 did, I think 2 would be my favourite. But I don't know. With me, 1 is just up there.
You literally fight an alien head at some point in 2. It's very
odd. Yeah. So there's things like that. So yeah, I'll be playing that this month, and again, yeah, I'll be doing all the retro stuff. So you'll be seeing my genuine reactions to the track list on the retro mode, and how they pull off the retro characters as well. Because I've made sure not to touch any of that stuff yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been me.
Okay. You want to go next, CherryT?
Yeah, sure thing.
That's all right.
Aside from playing around with some ROM hacks of the first 2 Fantasy Star games, one of which I've been broadcasting on my own Twitch channel.
Certainly have.
That was the Hordes of Nay one, and I've also been playing around with some Fantasy Star 2 ROM hacks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm choosing between which one to feature at the back of my mind.
Oh yeah.
I know there's a hard mode one. There's like a and I think the other 2 are like sort of improvements and rewrites and stuff.
Oh yeah, the ones where they sort of retranslate the script or add stuff to it. Yeah. Or
change things about. Like I think one of them, like I think it's the same person who made the Hordes of Nay actually.
Oh okay.
I think he changed the clone lab to a trauma centre.
I guess that makes a bit more sense. Or it's a
of.
bit less sci-fi. I don't know.
Less morbid.
Yeah.
Your character's dead. Never mind. Put them in the bin. We'll get another one that's just the same.
Yeah. I always found that really unsettling.
Yeah.
I know I said it. I might have said this multiple times, but yeah. Just cloning like a dead person. Like over and over again if you had to. No.
Yeah.
And then I also went back to playing Pokemon Ultra Moon as well. Again, just trying to fill up the living decks.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm actually down to about 60 Pokemon now, and pardon me, they're mostly like legendaries. Some that you can get in the Ultra Space Wild, which is like an ultra exclusive extra that they added to the game.
Oh, okay.
So it's not in the original Sun and Moon, but in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's a bit like how with the Crown Tundra DLC, that's like got chances for you to grab some legendaries as well.
Oh yeah, we'll have to get back to that at some point on stream.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Do a bit more of that. Human child.
Human child. Mushroom head deer thing.
Yeah.
That rides on a horse.
Rides on an ice horse. Or
It's a ghost horse.
Or a ghost horse, depending on what direction you take the plot. I don't know how that works. But...
Yeah, it's just like with the Urshifu. Yeah, that's all I've been playing at the moment.
Oh, fair enough.
Sweet. So that just leaves me, I think.
Yep.
I'll start with everything that isn't Phantasy Star Online 2.
That is.
So I've still been playing Rocket League all the way up until November 2nd, when the Halloween event ended, and I pretty much got every Ghostbusters item from that event, as well as bought the Ecto 1 car. And that's been that's been a lot of fun to play with, except that the Ecto 1 cannot actually equip most of the Ghostbusters items. It can only equip
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you definitely can have too much Ghostbusters. It can only equip one of the rocket boost effects for when you're using the turbo, which for the Ghostbusters thing, it either sprays off ectoplasm or mood slime. And then other than that, it was things like a Stay Puft topper, a Slimer topper, Ghostbusters wheels, Stay Puft wheels, and there was a Ghost Trap topper. But unfortunately, there wasn't much else Ghostbusters stuff going on. Like there was no special music, there was no special stages. So I thought that was a little bit of a missed opportunity if they were going to theme this around Ghostbusters, because this isn't the first time these Ghostbusters items have been available.
Ah, okay.
And speaking of
Ghostbusters, every Halloween or something.
Well, they don't have a Ghostbusters theme event on Halloween. I don't know why they did it this year. usually it's just a generic Halloween theme. And the Ghostbusters stuff has been available year round. That seemed to change after the game went free to play.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the special license cars that were usually available all year round, like the DC Comics cars, the Fast and Furious cars, the Jurassic Park stuff, and whatever else there was, including the Ghostbusters stuff. That's only on sale during specific events now. So the Ecto 1 was pulled from sale and then brought back just for this Ghostbusters event. But from what I could tell, it's the same price that it was before. In fact, I think, actually, you know what? It might actually be cheaper. Because before, the Ecto 1 came with a few of the Ghostbusters items. So now, even though you still have to pay for the Ecto 1, you can get the other Ghostbusters stuff for free.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm just remembering. There was a Stay Puft Marshmallow goal theme where the Stay Puft Man comes out of the goal if you manage to score. That is now sold separately from the Ecto 1. That was included with it before. Yeah, anyway. I also played the remastered Ghostbusters video game. Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, is that the one they gave out for free?
Wait, they gave it out for free?
It was on the other thing, not Steam. The other one, Epic Game Store.
Epic Game Store?
Yeah, they were giving it away.
Okay, no, that's not how I played it. I didn't actually know it was there. I played the PlayStation 4 game actually.
Oh, right.
So yeah, because of the Ghostbusters event, I had to watch the two Ghostbusters movies again, and then I had to play the game. I had not yet actually played the game yet.
I noticed it said 2, not 3.
There's only 2.
Yeah,
there's 2 Ghostbusters movies.
We watched
and
one,
then there's
the first one. I didn't watch the second. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. There is actually another Ghostbusters movie, but we don't talk about that one. And then there's another one which is supposed to come out in theaters this year, but it's been moved to next year. Ghostbusters Afterlife, I think it is.
Oh,
I'm totally going to watch that.
Yeah, Shane's just said new Ghost coming out soon. I didn't know that actually myself.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out this year, but like a lot of movies, it got pushed back.
Yeah.
Because reasons. So anyway, yeah, the Ghostbusters video game. If you're not aware, this Ghostbusters game is essentially meant to be a direct sequel to the second Ghostbusters movie.
Yep.
So so for the game, they really built it around that to the point where they got all the actors for the titular Ghostbusters to reprise their roles. And for the remaster, they also included a new message in memoriam of Harold Ramis at the start of the game, because he unfortunately passed away after the original version of the game. Yeah, Harold Ramis was Egon Spengler.
He was, yeah.
So, yeah.
My favourite character, my favourite Ghostbuster. Especially in the cartoon.
He also co-wrote the first film as well, didn't he? And maybe the second.
He sure did, yeah. He was a cool guy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone else from the movie has been brought back, but a lot of characters who were in the movie had actually been recast. So, like the mayor of New York, I forget his name. I forget the actor's name too, but he has the same voice as the Flying Dutchman from SpongeBob and Captain Knuckles from The Adventures of Flapjack. He just has that crazy, unfitting cartoon voice.
I think I know who you mean. Yeah. I can't remember his name either, but I do know exactly what you mean.
Oh yeah. And then it's funny. The first level of the game starts off with a lot of story beats that lampoon some of the most well-known moments from the movie. You go to the Sedgwick Hotel, which is the scene of the Ghostbusters' very first job in the movie. They go after Slimer again, just like in the movie. Slimer runs right into Peter's face and covers him in slime just like before. He devours all the food in the ballroom, which for the game is meant to be for a bar mitzvah. And then of course there's the guy running the hotel who's worried about the Ghostbusters wrecking the place, rightfully so, because you kind of do. And then after that, the Stay Puft Marshmallow comes back and starts stomping through New York.
Yeah.
They just wheel him out.
Yeah.
But hey, remember all your favourite bits in the first film? Here they are.
I remember there being a trophy for causing like a certain amount of damage to the city during the game.
That's good.
Is there? I didn't actually know about that. But
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
go out of my way to destroy as much as I could because you do actually get money for destroying property. Kind of weird, but
Keep it up.
yeah,
Okay.
just go nuts, destroy everything. And then you can spend that money on equipment upgrades.
That's peculiar.
Yeah, so let's see. After that, I also played Splatoon 2 for the Splatfest.
I
And
completely
Team Treat.
missed it.
What? You missed? Oh, man. Team Treat won. So if you were
Yay.
trying to be on Team Trick, you let your team down.
I was gonna pick Treat as well. I'm so annoyed. Like I saw it on there. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a stream of that. I'm gonna do it on Sunday, and then I didn't get to do it on Sunday. I was like, I'll do it on Monday. Wait, it's already finished. I was literally planning.
The Splatfest ended midday on Sunday.
Yeah, I wasn't paying full attention to the exact time it ended, and I was a whole day off.
Too busy with your Amiga streams or whatever you're streaming again, I forget.
Too busy enjoying yourself.
Well, this wasn't exactly the luckiest Splatfest for me. Even though my team did win, I really struggled with the game itself. I lost pretty much or almost every game I participated in. I only had one 10 times battle, and I lost that too.
At least your team won.
Yeah, but my team won. Also, I got a bunch of Halloween candy this year, incidentally. So I'm a happy camper.
In real life, or
And then I also played some Ninjala as well, because season 3 has started in the game, and the day that season 3 started in Ninjala, or maybe a few days after, they started doing an event from the 28th to today, where if you log into Ninjala each day, you get 100 Jala for free. So I logged in on most of the days, and I actually got enough Jala to spend it all on the season pass.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm gonna be playing a lot more Ninjala just to get as much from that season pass as possible. It ends in January.
So if season 2's finished, does that mean the Sonic costumes are gone?
Yeah, the Sonic stuff is gone.
Sonic costumes that cost an absolute fortune if you just wanted to buy them.
It's all gone. So if you wanted that stuff, you should have bought it while you had it.
But did you see how much it cost? No.
I did see how much it
No.
cost. It was quite a lot.
It was like
so
the
I couldn't
equivalent of about
justify
£50
spending that much either.
to get the whole lot.
Especially because I didn't feel like they got. I felt like they could have gotten a lot more creative with the Sonic stuff.
Oh,
Essentially, there was just a Sonic, a Tails, and a Knuckles hoodie, which kind of looks pretty much like you'd expect one of those things to look like, where it makes you look somewhat like the character. There's also the Epon messages, which there's one with a picture of Sonic and one with a picture of Eggman.
Like JPEGs. Standard stock art JPEGs, basically.
Really, the best thing in that collab was the little Eggman statue.
Yes.
That you can
I
place
love that,
on
because it's actually based on a figure you could buy.
Yeah, apparently it was based on.
I have it.
An Eggman.
It was a Loot Crate exclusive Robotnik figure. It's like a super deformed, like big-headed Eggman in his Eggomatic. It was really nice.
Oh, we've got that as well.
Yeah.
Toy.
Yeah, they actually put that in Ninjala. I thought that was really cute.
Cool.
Anyway, for season 3, though, they are doing another collab. This time, it's with the Japanese pop idol CherryT and Elk, which
Right.
I'll never know how to play it until she tells me herself. So, if
We'll
you
have to
hadn't
ask her.
noticed, Miss Chiari Piamu Piamu has sang a theme song for Ninjala, which has been remixed by someone named Steve Aoki. And that song has been used as the ending credits theme for the animated Ninjala shorts. So now that song is available to purchase in the game to have played during a match. And you can also buy Miss Piamu Piamu's outfit as well as an emote for her dance that she made for the song. And I forgot to mention the name of the song. It's called Ninja Re Bang Bang.
Good. Oh dear. That sounds a bit.
You get a free EPON message that's based on Ninja Re Bang Bang.
It sounds like something you want to be careful when you're Googling.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does. It sounds like a ninja themed hentai.
Yeah. Look up that song. Oh, God.
Oh.
Oh, that song is actually in the Season 3 trailer for the game.
Okay.
If you hadn't played the game after Season 3 started already, it's going to play automatically, but it's also on the official YouTube.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I played Phantasy Star Online too, as always.
Which you have a few minutes to speak about. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, well, thankfully I don't have a lot to talk about this time. The Halloween event is still going. It's going until November 11th.
Oh, okay.
So there's still time to get the Halloween stuff. Unfortunately, the Trick or Treat Urgent Quest isn't coming up as often as it used to. Now it's like, I'm lucky if it comes up like every 2 or 3 days. They got a schedule, so I know when it happens, but it's hard to plan around it, which is tough because I still have a few more missions I need to play that Urgent Quest to accomplish. A couple more monsters that typically appear during that mission that I have to go after. And it's hard to plan around playing other events or other missions, I mean, where those monsters show up. But I'm doing what I can. I got a couple of Halloween items, actually. That's about it, I think. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, so I guess that's what we've been playing. I guess we shall get on with the news. We were going to do this podcast yesterday. We were like, there's no news, and then suddenly loads of news came in. So we've actually got quite a bit this week. I guess the first thing I'll go into is this bit of Nintendo news. Basically, they put out their latest financial report, which, safe to say, is quite glowing. Basically,
they have money.
Yeah. What a surprise! Basically, the Nintendo Switch has now sold more units worldwide than the NES.
Oh, that is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what's fun? I thought that it had already outsold the NES up until I saw this.
You might have been thinking of the SNES because it passed that a while ago, and I think it passed the
probably. But that's how quickly this Switch is selling. You're already assuming that it's outsold this and that. Yeah. Now it just has the DS.
Feels like every other month we get news like this. This has been a bit of a recurring thing. So basically, it's sold as of like a couple months ago, I suppose, or whenever the financial thing ends. It's currently at 68.3 million units. So yeah, it's actually gunning for the 3DS now. It's actually not far off from what the 3DS did, which was about 73 million. So
it hasn't outsold the 3DS yet.
Yeah, not quite, but it won't take long. In fact, it's probably almost past it already. And another surprise of this, well, it's not really a surprise, but Animal Crossing on the Switch is now the second best-selling game on the Switch. And it's actually coming for Mario Kart 8. It has almost become number one. It's very close to actually dethroning a Mario Kart game, which might be a first for a Nintendo console, because I swear Mario Kart games are almost always consistently the best-selling thing. Like Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart 7, they were all top sellers on their respective platforms. but Animal Crossing in just 1 year, in less than a year, has almost caught up with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe already.
I can't believe you said that's not surprising.
I mean, it's not surprising considering like the perfect timing of it coming out and just how much bigger it's been and just the social media buzz of it. And
that's true. That could only happen during a cataclysmic event like this, can it?
I mean, the fact that they released the game a mere week before lockdown in the UK is not like that. They obviously didn't intend it that way, but it just ended up becoming the perfect storm in a bottle for, you know, everyone that was stuck indoors. It was basically the perfect game for them to chill out with and forget about all the crap of the world and just, you know.
Yeah, and people actually managed to plan some events to take place in Animal Crossing too. Like, I've heard of someone who actually arranged to hold their own wedding in Animal Crossing.
Yep, it's one of those games. It's become that big now.
In the game, I think KFC did some kind of event in Animal Crossing as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That was over in the Philippines.
Yes. I think I heard about that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're basically themed furniture and this, that, and the other everywhere. Well, kind of clever, but yeah.
But yeah, despite, you know, everything that's happened this year, like, Nintendo's actually had one of their best years in ages. Like, apparently it's like a 200% increase over last year or something like that.
I totally expected it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of bonkers this year. Basically,
already expecting the Switch to far outsell the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S combined.
I mean, you know, they're literally got a lot of catching up to do, basically. But even just going by, Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm just saying what Nintendo came up with here was genius, and the events are further helping them. Just so long as they can keep production up, because I know they had trouble with that for some time.
Oh yeah. So basically, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is currently at 29 million sold, and you got to think this is a port of a Wii U game that's like at least 5 years old at this point. So the fact that Mario Kart is still that big thing, but Animal Crossing in less than a year is already at 26 million. So it is probably most likely it's just past Smash Bros. Ultimate. So
wow.
It's
remember how quickly Pokemon Sword and Shield was selling after that came out?
Yep, that's currently at 19 million. So that's like the
and we thought that was going to be the one that would eventually beat Mario Kart 8. And then it turns out that's going to be Animal Crossing of all games.
Yeah, exactly. When you think about how obscure and tiny Animal Crossing started, like when it was on the GameCube and it was essentially a port of an N64 game that stayed in Japan, and it was just kind of like a niche little thing for quite a while. I think it was only when like the DS game came out that it really started to actually get some traction. But I feel like they finally, you know, Animal Crossing is up there with Legend of Zelda and Mario now as like one of Nintendo's big
Animal Crossing
at this point.
Animal Crossing does seem to do a lot better on handhelds, doesn't it?
Because Wild
World on the DS and then New Leaf on the 3DS were the biggest Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, the Wii one did all right, but and then obviously the Wii U only got that horrible puzzle. That weird board game that literally ended up in the pound shop.
I think they didn't go out of their way to make a real Animal Crossing game for the Wii U because that was a console and not a handheld.
That's
Never mind the
strange to me though. Like they could have sold so many Wii U's if they just made a proper Animal Crossing on that thing. But they just
I remember the E3 when we were watching it. I remember Hunk Thunder's reaction.
I remember my reaction. I'm not even invested in Animal Crossing. I was like, F off.
Oh, it was
when
priceless.
They showed it.
It's like, he was like, oh great, a new Animal Crossing. What?
Yeah, exactly. And
what is this?
On that E3 stream we did, where we were actually watching it live, like I said, no one's gonna want this. This is absolute garbage. And sure enough, at least not even a year later, it was literally in the pound shop for like £3 with the two amiibos in it. You'd think the amiibos would be worth more than £3, but nope. They're associated with the Wii U game, so they're worthless.
And you know who paid full price for it?
Ooh.
And yeah, if you haven't guessed, it's me. And yeah, I played it on Christmas Day with my ex, and we both actually fell asleep whilst playing it. That's how bad it is.
I mean, to make you feel a bit better, I seem to remember it wasn't a super expensive game, and it came with 2 amiibos back when amiibos were still quite hard to get. So I
It
can
cost me
understand.
£40.
Most people did buy that game just for the amiibos, but then after that, most of the other Animal Crossing amiibos, including the cards, they became worthless. Nobody cared about them until Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yeah. It's funny how it almost feels like every Nintendo franchise that hits the Switch just like it turns to gold. I mean, even Paper Mario, the latest Paper Mario has done almost 3 million. That's a lot for a Paper Mario game. Like, that's probably already the highest selling Paper Mario game. I think it's just got the Wii. Ooh, I need a drink.
You alright?
I'll be back in a sec.
Bit a bit guessy.
I
There.
Keep going.
Okay.
I still remember before the Nintendo Switch came out, people were saying it was going to be a failure, and Nintendo didn't learn anything from the Wii U. And you know what? The system did launch with mostly shovelware, besides Breath of the Wild. So
Yeah.
you couldn't blame a lot of people for thinking it wasn't going to go well.
Yeah.
Being honest, I was being a typical Nintendo fanboy, saying like, "Oh, it's going to be the best thing ever," and this, that, and the other. And yeah, thankfully, Nintendo did invite a few members of Lucky Hit to go to the UK premiere.
Yeah.
And it's just something we can be proud in, the fact that we was there for the launch party.
Oh, I love that. That whole you talking about the Switch launch?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
Hammersmith Apollo.
I feel like that's one of the reasons the Switch has become one of my favourite consoles, because they revealed it and literally like 2 days later we were playing it.
Yeah.
I can't believe the luck in that. That was just incredible. Like, I couldn't get over how we were literally like, oh, we've only just discovered what the Switch even is. We're going to be playing it like 2 days later.
That was a special day.
It really was. Like, I'm just really pleased that I'm kind of happy the Switch is doing this well. I hope it means they're going to put it into making a more powerful one down the line with better Joy-Cons.
Yes,
Nintendo Joy-Cons that are not made of lost dreams and paper mache next time, please. But you know, everything else about the Switch I absolutely adore. Like the whole concept of it. The second I first started using it, like, and started putting it in the TV and taking it out again, I was like, how has this never been done before? I was just like, this is absolute genius. Like, it's the first time they've done a what you could call a gimmick that actually seems like a really good one. That's not really a gimmick. It's actually just like, I can't live without that concept anymore.
Why most people did it would fail early on, because they thought it would, because it looked gimmicky from the start. And I still remember a lot of people saying, why can't they just make a simple console that connects to your TV and has nothing special about it? But like, if they did that,
point is, it is a really simple console. It's an insanely simple console.
I guess, but like for some reason, people were put off by having the option of making it portable. Like they wanted it to be a more powerful. They basically wanted it to be a PlayStation 4, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's boring.
Yeah, but of course, you know, those kind of people, they buy it anyway because they're just they're corporate sheep.
Right. Or, you know, they learnt their lesson and tried it and were like, oh, actually, it's really fun.
Yeah, really, and like, even if you don't want to play on your TV, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Just like
that's what I mean. I know plenty of people that have a Switch and they only play it in handheld, and I know just as many people that only play it on the TV. And
I play mine in handheld most of the time, and I never expected to do that but I just kind of like the convenience of being able to take it anywhere.
Yeah,
And
it's basically the concept that the Wii U was trying to do, but couldn't because it was too big.
Yeah.
I could do that with the Wii U gamepad as well, but with that, I had to stay within 30 feet of the console, which was
that.
Yeah, and 30 feet is a lot shorter than you might think it is. So it was way too limiting.
Yeah. Right, so outside of Nintendo basically being a lurk, we sold lots. Apparently they've also said that they've actually they've kind of ironed out the manufacturing issues they were having with the Switch over the year, because obviously the pandemic has made things a bit awkward, but they've apparently smoothed that out and they're going to be able to ship them out a lot quicker now, so they're going to sell even more. Basically,
good they figured it out ahead of the holiday season.
Oh yeah, for sure. Apparently 3D All Stars has already sold over, I think it was like 5 million as well, so that's doing absolute gangbusters. So even when that game does get like delisted and they stop selling it new, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of second-hand copies around. Because it's already sold almost 6 million, so that says it all. If anything, I would be surprised if they see that number and go, maybe this shouldn't be a limited thing. I don't know, but we'll see. I guess we will see. Yeah, I don't know, but maybe they'll change their minds once they see the ridiculous numbers, especially within the last month when everyone goes, oh wait, I forgot, this isn't going to be available forever. But yeah, right, so moving on, I'm gonna say this is probably the big one. This is big news. This is not something I expected to see. So Sega are essentially leaving the Japanese arcade management business. So in a way, so basically they have sold an 85.1%. I don't know why the 0.1. Sega seem to like 0.1 after their Virtua Striker 2 version 2000.1. But they're basically giving an 85.1% share to a company called Genda, who were apparently formed in 2018. I think they're a Japanese company. They own arcade businesses around the world, including, I'm trying to remember what the one in America is called. It's like Kiddie something. I don't know if you heard of it, Elk. They own a bunch of arcades in America. Kiddie
something, you said?
Yeah.
Nothing rings a bell.
Yeah, I think they own a franchise of arcades in America called something like that.
I know in America we have stuff like Round One USA, Dave and Buster's, Chuck E. Cheese is still around.
It's none of those, but either way, they own a load of arcades around the world. But now they're going to own essentially more or less all of Sega's arcade centres, of which there are 199 of them, most of which are obviously Japan. I think this also includes stuff like what's it called? The Sega theme parks, or the indoor theme parks they've got in Japan, the Joyopolis. I think it counts those as well. But thankfully, this doesn't mean they're going to shut, so that's the good thing, because obviously one of the main ones in Akihabara shut down a couple months ago, didn't they? One of the ones right in the heart of the city, the one with the iconic escalator part, like the orange escalator parts on the side of the building. That
was heartbreaking.
So that kind of gives you an idea that Sega are struggling, especially this year with the pandemic. Basically, the arcade scene, even in Japan, has been struggling for many years. Obviously, it's more or less dead here. There are arcades over here, but most of the ones in the UK seem to be owned by Namco now. They're sort of like Namco Funscapes. But Sega used to have loads of arcades in the UK, like Sega Land, Sega World, obviously, the Trocadero, all that kind of stuff. But
Sega Park. Sega Park in Basildon.
Oh yes, the Sega Parks. Yes, I used to. I used to regular that one in Basildon. I loved that Sonic carpet they had. I was really gutted when I went there and I didn't know it was shut, and then it was just gone, and everything was gone. I was like, I wanted a bit of that carpet. I wanted that carpet. If they could give me enough of that carpet to put in my bedroom, I would have had it. It was just like a Sonic with Sega Park written all over it, and they had all like artwork for like hand painted artwork of like Virtua Cop and Sega Rally all over the walls and stuff. It was really cool.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I wish I had photos of it or something. But yeah, so basically Sega owns 199 entertainment centers, and they're all going to be owned by this Genda now. But one, they're not shutting down, so that's good. And two, they're actually going to keep the Sega branding despite only owning a 14% share in them, because the brand is basically just too strong.
Absolutely,
in Japanese arcades, you walk around in Yakuza, you walk around Japan, like Tokyo in Yakuza, and it wouldn't be the same if everything said Genda instead of Sega, would it? It just wouldn't be the same. I don't think that would go down quite so well. So yeah, they're going to stick with the Sega branding, and also Sega still intends to develop arcade games. So, because they have been still obviously making arcade games, they've been making rhythm games, they've been doing all those weird horse racing games they seem to love so much, all kinds of stuff. Not obviously, again, not as much as they used to make, but they have said they are going to start moving some of their staff into console and PC development. So it's probably a case of they're not going to quit arcade game development, but they are going to maybe trim it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it isn't quite it's not quite the market it used to be, especially after this year, which is kind of, just murdered arcades in a way, as you've already seen with one of their most iconic arcades having to shut down. But yeah, it's good to see that they're still going to be open, even if it's not, fully owned by Sega anymore. It still kind of feels like an end of an era, because Sega, as far as I'm concerned, I know a lot of people, they hear the word Sega and they just think, it's the guys that made Sonic. That's all they think. But for me, Sega has always just equaled arcade. Like, their name is arcade, Not just because of the games they made, but also because of the arcades they've run over the years, including Geopolis and Sega World in Trocadero. And they also at one point owned that one in America called GameWorks. I presume that one's going to come out of there. I don't know if they still own that. Actually, no, I don't think they own
I don't
one
even
anymore.
know if GameWorks is still around.
There's still one in Las Vegas, apparently. There is still a big one in Las Vegas, because I know.
Well, there's none near my area.
No, there's not many of them left. I think there's only 2 of them now, or maybe 3. But either way, I don't think they're under Sega now, because at one point they were owned by DreamWorks, and then Sega owned them for a bit, and I think someone else owns them now. But either way, I've always associated Sega with arcades, like both the technology they used to, back in like the 90s, I would say Sega were arcades, because they were always ahead of the curve when it came to the technology. They always had the most insane graphics in their arcade games that just looked like they were light years ahead of anything on consoles.
Yeah.
I mean, just remember when like Virtua Fighter 3 was revealed. That thing just looked light years ahead of anything on consoles. Even the Dreamcast didn't get it quite perfect, because that game was just so ahead of its time. It came out in 1996 and it was like Dreamcast graphics in 96. It was madness, and obviously the machines were really expensive because of that. But yeah, and also like some of the technology they had in their arcade cabinets, like the R360, and the motion cabinets like the Outrun cabinet, and all the motion cabinets they did over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
They technically pioneered like some of the, not the first, but some of the first like arcade VR stuff. Yeah, just I've always just associated Sega with arcades like my whole life. I'm still looking forward to that Astro City Mini, because that is basically just a drop in the ocean's history of their their arcade games in a nutshell, in a little mini arcade cabinet. Yeah, it's quite sad, but also I'm glad they're not just closing down,
Yeah. And it is good that they're taking some of the staff that work on arcade games and bringing them over to the console and PC area of development.
Yeah.
Because I remember this this is similar to what Nintendo did just before they launched the Switch.
Yes.
One of the reasons they made it a hybrid was because they wanted to consolidate their handheld and their console development arms. So they brought all those developers together so that they'd be able to make some of the most bomb-ass games on the Switch. And I'd say it's worked out pretty well for them so far. It could work out for Sega as well.
I think the transition with Nintendo is still kind of going, because I don't feel like they're putting out as many games as they did when they were doing, for example, Wii U and 3DS games. I still feel like they're not putting as much, but I think they're getting there.
I think what's going on there is they're essentially focusing on quality development, but it just doesn't necessarily mean games will come out faster.
No, or as you're not getting the equivalent of a console and a handheld's quantity of games on the Switch. You're getting more than you're not getting as many droughts as you did on like the Wii U or the GameCube or anything like that. But it's still, I want to see more of like the kind of smaller, quirkier games they used to do on like the DS on the Switch, and they have been doing a couple games like that, like Sushi Striker. But I kind of want to see more of that. But
in the case of Sega, of course, there's a lot of arcade developers that have been around at Sega for a long time who have stayed with the arcade side of the business. So I don't know which of those employees went over to the console and PC development arms, but it's possible you're going to see some top tier talent working on those kind of games again.
Yeah,
because remember when Sega started downsizing their arcade business in the 2000s, that was one of the main reasons why Yu Suzuki left the company.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So Yu Suzuki's still not at Sega anymore. He's still got his own development company, and
he's
really
an
doubt
advisor,
they're going to work on much of anything.
Still advises on some arcade Sega. Yeah.
So it's mostly a lot. It's mostly a lot of unknowns in the in that company right now. People who maybe they had quite a big role in the development of some of their most well-known games, but they're not like auteurs like Yuji Naka or Yu Suzuki, where it makes sense to really know their names.
Yeah. Still, I'd still like to see Sega continue to make arcade games, even if most of them don't seem to come out outside Japan, like a good majority of them don't. But there's been a lot of promise lately that they're going back into doing some pretty big stuff. They hinted at that Virtua Fighter X esports thing not long ago, which I assume is going to be an arcade thing, possibly.
We still don't know the first thing about that.
Yeah, exactly. They've been hinting at a lot of things lately. Like, felt like they're trying to sort of get back into that kind of thing. And then there was the whole fog gaming thing that they announced, which was kind of like their idea of how to bolster the arcade industry. They have been trying. Obviously not outside of Japan, but in Japan, where arcades are still kind of a thing, they're still popular enough to not be completely stagnant like they are here.
I thought so.
Sega
Bits just said, he's still a consultant. Yu Suzuki's still a consultant. I thought so, yeah.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. I would say that.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know that, actually.
Hi, Sega Bits. I'm reading your article now.
Big fans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so another thing that's come out from this, I don't know how much there is to this. Sega have also said they are reducing their stake in Sanrio. So now they're not like the highest shareholder in Hello Kitty. They're like number 2 now. I didn't even know they had a stake in Hello Kitty, to be honest.
I knew about it, but I completely forgot about it.
I mean, it makes so much sense now why there were not 1 but 2 Hello Kitty Dreamcasts. I never put the 2 and 2 together.
There's that whole range of Sonic crossover Hello Kitty plushies.
I still want to get the Knuckles Bats Maru because that thing is hilarious. It's just like a bird Knuckles. It's really weird. But yeah, that makes so much sense now. I always noticed that Sega and Sanrio got on well, but I never realised they actually had a stake in them, basically. Like the number 1, the biggest percentage in them, but apparently now they'll be number 2.
Kind of makes sense when they said that they wanted Sonic to be a marketable icon on the same level as Hello Kitty before.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I'm sure they're
exactly.
looking to Sanrio to help them figure out how to go about that.
Apparently, they had 37% shares in Sanrio, and now it'll be okay. They've got about 6% left, 6 or 7% left. That's interesting. So yeah, I guess they've just had to make some little cuts here and there. Yeah, happy 60th anniversary. But yeah, yeah. I guess I don't know if anyone else has got anything to add to this because.
No, I mean, all I can say is I saw this news. I can't remember. I think it was this morning I saw it, and I was straight away. I was panicking. I was thinking, no, surely.
The way it was worded when I first saw tweets, I thought the first thing I saw was 85% Sega sold to, and I was like, oh no. First thing I saw, I panicked, but then I read it properly, and I was like, oh wait, it's just their arcade.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
A lot of people have probably thought the same thing when they heard that Sammy Corporation had bought out Sega.
I mean, yeah, I remember bricking it when that happened. I was like, who even are Sammy at first? My first thing was like, yeah, who the hell are they? Oh wait, I'm gonna put up Bats Maru Knuckles on the screen real quick. Hang on. There he is. Oh, hang on, I can't zoom out. That'd be good, wouldn't it, if I could zoom out?
Fitting.
No, it's not gonna let me capture his full glory, but
we get the idea.
You get the idea.
I forget if there was a Caro-P Sonic plush. If there was, I'd love to get that one. He was my favorite.
I can't remember which ones were which, but there was a Hello Kitty Sonic, there was a Bats Maru Knuckles. That's all that.
Caro-P was the frog.
Oh no, I don't think there was a frog one. I think that would have been.
Yeah,
they could have done a Caro-P Froggy. They could have done that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so I guess moving on from that, speaking of Sega arcade-related stuff, Arcade Run-Up have just announced their first driving game-related recreation.
Oh yeah.
Construct-it-yourself cabinet. And it's a driving game. It's got an additional seat, so you can actually sit down, and it's got a proper steering wheel and a gear stick and all that kind of stuff. And it is of Outrun.
It's glorious, is what it is.
Yes, right. So first things first, the game's on it. So you're getting Outrun, you're getting Turbo Outrun, you're getting Outrunners, and you're getting Power Drift. That's a pretty damn good set of games. I know it would probably be too difficult to put Outrun 2 on there, but that would have made it a complete collection. No, wait, no, they need to put Outrun Europa on there as well. Actually, no, they don't. It's fine. That one doesn't exist. It's fine. That wasn't even by Sega. That was by US Gold. But yeah. So yeah, this
wasn't even an arcade game.
No, it wasn't.
That would be
it was like a home computer game and a Master System game. But yeah, the fact that it's got Outrunners on it alone has me like really excited, because there was a Mega Drive port of Outrunners, but it wasn't like by any means arcade perfect, because it was like full.
I actually have the Genesis version of Outrunners.
Yeah, I have it as well. I like it.
Okay, but it's good.
Yeah.
It is very much a far cry from the arcade game.
Oh yeah, because it's like in a forced split screen perspective. The graphics are quite cut down. You know, it doesn't look anything like the arcade game.
And I'm pretty sure it's the only Sega System 32 game that was ever ported to the Mega Drive.
Yeah, I'm really surprised they never did a Saturn version. To be honest, I'm actually shocked they didn't.
Although I know Data East ported it to the system, so maybe Data East just insisted they wanted to do it for some reason.
Yeah, maybe. Either way. So yeah, the fact that it's got Outrunners on there is really exciting, because I don't think there's any legal way of playing the arcade version at home in any way until now, because for some reason they didn't put it.
Genesis version.
Yeah, except for no, I'm talking about the actual arcade.
I know
play
what you're
the arcade version, but yeah, there's no, they didn't put it on the Astro City Mini. This is the only way to buy the arcade version of Outrunners outside of finding an original cabinet, which probably costs even more than this thing does. What's quite interesting as well is obviously it's got Outrun and Turbo Outrun on there, but without the Ferrari license. So basically, the version of Outrun you're getting is essentially the one that they've been using since Shenmue, where they redrew the car.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, none of the Ferrari stuff is on it. Basically, like you haven't got the Ferrari logo on the steering wheel like you would have done on the original arcade machine. But you know,
Prancing horse.
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that, to be honest.
that game's the main reason why I tend to love Ferrari. That and the fact that I used to have a Power Wheels Ferrari Testarossa when I was a kid,
Oh,
which
nice.
just so happens to be the car in Outrun.
I'll put the trailer in the stream so you can see it. I don't think the trailer actually shows gameplay. I think it just shows the actual cabinet, but I'll just put that on the screen anyway so you get some better close-ups.
Certainly looks like a beefy cabinet. You're going to need a lot of room for that.
Yep. I mean, these are smaller than actual arcade cabinets. I mean, this is a lot smaller than, say, the actual motion cabinet of Outrun. But still, if you wanted that one with the chair especially, you're going to need quite a bit of space.
Yes, yeah.
And
This
actually isn't the first sit-down cabinet they've done.
Oh, is it not?
Either way, there's also the cocktail cabinets, if you want to count those, but they also did that Atari Star Wars cabinet, which itself has a optional seat.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so, that's how the original Star Wars game was.
Of course, yeah. I haven't really been keeping a full eye on what Arcade 1-Up does because it's kind of beyond me anyway. I'm never going to own any of these at this point unless they get flogged off somewhere. Even then, where am I going to put the thing if I ever got something like this? But this one is going to retail.
I would love to get a couple of these if I had the chance.
Especially
the ones featuring games from the 90s, which this one has one game from the 90s.
Yeah. The fact that this is actually the second Sega one they've done now, because there was also that Golden Axe one, which actually has Return of Death Adder on it as well.
That's the one I got my eye on. I really want that.
Yeah, that one is nice.
That was on my list as well.
Yeah. So
I remember months ago, someone also leaked a Virtua Fighter cabinet that turned out to be false.
Yeah, that ended up being fake, but that looked quite believable until it had Virtua Fighter Remix on it as well. And I know that did get an arcade release, but
Virtua Fighter Remix, Virtua Fighter 2, Fighting Vipers, and Sonic the Fighters.
I love that.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter Remix should have been a dead giveaway because that was an STV game, which was based on Sega Saturn hardware.
Exactly.
And although emulation of the Saturn has taken a lot of strides in the past decade, it and the STV aren't the easiest systems to emulate still.
Yeah,
and
I don't think you'd be able to put them in a sellable thing.
Yeah, and it might be out of Arcade 1-Up's wheelhouse.
So this thing is coming out in early December, and it's going to be $500 US, and I emphasize US dollars because shipped to USA and Canada only.
They don't ship these internationally?
Nope.
Oh yeah, I never noticed.
At the moment, we have to get ours.
You wouldn't notice that because you can get it. We can't.
We can get some of
even
them.
if we could, even if I could afford this thing and I had the room for it, I cannot has. Not currently, anyway.
We have to get our ones through Smith's Toys at the moment.
Yes, they do sell a couple of them in Smith's Toys here. They do have. I think last time I was in there, they had the Street Fighter one, and I think they may have had the Pac-Man one. I think they're the two I see. Yeah. Sometimes
I'm gonna
they
keep
do
my
get
eye on this.
I see them in stores sometimes. Usually they got the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, or Atari arcade 1-Ups.
Yeah.
And there's some of them like the Outrun one, for example, which are exclusively available through the Arcade 1-Up online store. Although in Outrun's case, that one's going to be a timed exclusive, so eventually it'll be in stores as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. It's cool. I can't has it, but it's cool. it's there.
I hope down the line we do end up getting that with Smith's Toys. The same goes for the Golden Axe one, because I really am going to keep my eye on that.
That Golden Axe one does seem pretty cool. I know the
saving
Astro
my
City
pennies.
Mini's coming out, and that also has Death Adder in it, so that's probably what I'll go for. I'm still planning to pre-order or buy a Astro City Mini because it has both Golden Axes on it. But that one does look really cool. It's just a shame they had to waste a slot on Wrestle War.
Yeah.
That game wasn't good in arcades or the Mega Drive. It was just a game that existed to fill a gap in the early Mega Drive lineup, I guess.
I just want to come to a point where it would make financial sense for me to buy a couple of these and be able to make the space for them in my place, because I'd love to have my own personal arcade like that.
Yeah.
Right. So one last bit of sort of Sega related news. So I don't know if anyone's heard of the Atomus Wave. Basically, the Atomus Wave was a arcade board that was made between Sega, Sammy, and SNK. It came out a few years after the Dreamcast was discontinued, but it was based roughly on Dreamcast hardware. Mostly Dreamcast. It was similar to the Naomi board, basically, and there was quite a few exclusive games for it. So, a homebrew guy by the name of Megafault85 has actually managed to port a Atomus Wave exclusive arcade game to the Dreamcast, and you can actually burn it and play it. And that game is Metal Slug 6. Yeah, this thing's really cool. I'm gonna crack this up on the screen real quick as well, because this is really impressive. Because obviously most of the Metal Slug games were on the Neo Geo. Was it? Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but
and
then
was only made available in for homes via the Metal Slug collection on the PlayStation 2, Wii, and I think the PSP.
Yeah, and I think there may have been like a PS2 port of this as well, but either way, this was.
I mentioned the PS2 game.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah,
it just wasn't. It just wasn't sold separately on the PS2, unlike Samurai Showdown 6.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think this is really cool. They've this. I don't know how this has been done, but
you notice from the video, this game actually has Ralph and Clark from the Akari Warriors.
Yeah, they're in this.
Series.
Oh yeah, I've played I played Metal Slug 6 on the Wii collection, I think.
Yeah. I didn't even know they were in this game until recently. I just think that's really cool.
That is neat. Yeah, that was one of the new things about 6. But yeah, this is just really. This makes me wonder, why the hell wasn't there any Metal Slug games officially released on the Dreamcast? Like that seems baffling to me.
Even
because like
PlayStation had a port of Metal Slug.
Yeah, I mean Metal Slug 1 was on the Sega Saturn. It required like the 1 MB RAM card, but it was there. I was just really surprised that no Metal Slug games came out on the Dreamcast, because there were so many SNK games on the Dreamcast. Like every King of Fighters game up to that point, all the way up to like 2002, and all kinds of stuff like Last Blade 2 and all that kind of stuff. I'm just really surprised. I think a lot of the Metal Slug games came out a bit later than like the Dreamcast. I think they were. I mean, they could have put like 2 or X or something on the Dreamcast, but they just didn't for some reason.
I think Metal Slug 3 came out in 2000.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that could have been a possibility, but I don't know. They just
Metal
didn't.
Slug games came about.
I mean, in terms of like Metal Slug games, this one isn't one of the strongest ones, because it is just kind of like recycling sprites from previous games and just putting them in sort of aesthetically clashing backgrounds that don't really match the art style of Metal Slug, but it's fine. It's still cool that someone's managed to pull this off. And
that was what they did with that was what SNK did with a lot of their games on the Atomus Wave.
Yes, because there was also that King of Fighters Neo Wave, wasn't there? And that was just kind of
there was King of Fighters Neo Wave. There was Samurai Showdown 6.
Mm-hmm.
There was King of Fighters 11 was Atomus Wave.
Yeah, Neo Geo Battle Coliseum as well.
Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, yes.
That game was pretty cool, actually.
King of Fighters 11 were actually ported to the PlayStation 2. In fact, I had
them on PS2. That was a really cool, just like Neo Geo Battle Coliseum was just like a really good crossover game with characters from all over the Neo Geo history.
Yeah, and they
even
reference
characters from like World Heroes and stuff like that.
Yeah, they even reference stuff like the Neo Geo Pocket and Cool World or
Yeah.
Cool Town. I'm
Too,
thinking
yeah.
Cool World.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just making me wonder if any of these other Atomic Wave games could get possibly ported, and if there's any that anyone here would really like to see. For me, if it can be done, Dolphin Blue. You got to do Dolphin Blue. So if anyone doesn't know what Dolphin Blue is, it's basically a Metal Slug-esque game. It's kind of like a platformer shooter, but it's like got 3D backgrounds and you ride dolphins. It looks amazing. Like if you look up Dolphin Blue, like arcade, and just look at that gameplay and just tell me, how did this not get a Dreamcast port? Well, obviously it didn't get a Dreamcast port because it came out in like 2004 or 5, something like that. So it was long after the Dreamcast had, been discontinued more or less. But,
sorry, bear with me a second, guys. I'll be back soon.
That's all right. No worries.
So,
yeah.
After Vice Project Doom got released on the Nintendo Switch NES app via Sega, which was another Sammy developed game, it really made me wonder if being part of Sammy, if Sega Games is actually able to publish other Sammy games besides just Vice Project Doom. Because Dolphin Blue might be one of those.
I really hope so, because I feel like I have actually played that because there's an arcade in Southend called Neon Knights, and they do actually have a board of that game that they can plug into their. They have got like an Atomic Wave, which just has that game on it, I believe. And I did actually play a little bit of it in an arcade. Such a cool game! Like
the only Atomic Wave game I've ever come across was the Rumblefish 2, I think.
Yes.
Which was also Sammy.
That's a weird fighting game. It's got such a weird graphic style. It's kind of like I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah, it's kind of like weird tweeny animation.
It's a lot like the limb tweening that you usually see in Flash cartoons.
Yeah, kind of. They're kind of like using 2D assets, but they're moving them around in 3D. It's really strange. But from what I've seen, it's not a bad game. There isn't a lot of games on the Atomic Wave. It wasn't a long-lasting arcade machine like the Naomi was. But it did also have the Fit of the North Star game by the Guilty Gear developers. So I wouldn't mind a Dreamcast port of that.
Developed by Arc System Works.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that was them. And that was on there. But yeah, it wasn't like a long-lasting arcade piece of hardware, but it was like just a nice little extension to the Dreamcast hardware. It's like the Naomi was going for years after the Dreamcast had finished. They were actually still making games for it way after.
And unlike the Naomi, the Atomic Wave didn't have quite as many games. It had a couple, but
yeah,
the only other developer that ever made games for that system was SNK.
Yeah, I think it was SNK, Arc System Works, Sega, and Sammy, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, okay. Arc System Works made games. I should say those three were the only companies that published anything on the Atomic Wave.
Yeah, true. It wasn't like a long-lasting thing. But if it's possible to port over Atomic Wave stuff, I don't know how easy these other games would be, but if that is possible, I can think of a few Naomi games they could do as well, but we could be here all day if I started going to Naomi games because there's loads of those.
Just put every game on Naomi and Atomic Wave on the Dreamcast.
If possible. One in particular that I'd love to see is, have you ever seen Azumanga Daioh Puzzle Bobble?
Puzzle Bobble?
Yeah, a Puzzle Bobble game with the Azumanga Daioh characters in it. It's great. I tried it on an emulator. It
I've
exists.
heard of a game like this. I thought it was a columns game, actually.
No, it's basically Bust a Move. Yeah, it's Bust a Move, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of that Sakura Wars columns game.
Yeah, you probably are. But yeah, Azumanga Daioh and Puzzle Bobble. That's like I don't know why it works, but it really works. I'd like to see that on Dreamcast if possible. Right, so one last bit of news, and this one's also a bit of a big one. It literally just happened today, I think. So essentially, for the first time in a console launch history, in this case the PlayStation 5, this will be the first console launch where you cannot walk into a shop and buy the console.
Oh yes, I actually saw like a similar article earlier today about saying people shouldn't be camping outside like game stores and that. Like,
Yeah. So basically, this is from Sony themselves. Sony have announced that all day of launch PlayStation 5 sales will be online only globally. All obviously due to the pandemic.
Yeah, and the fact that people think they're immune to the thing that caused the pandemic.
Yeah, well, escaping that. But basically, they're saying anyone that has pre-ordered from a brick and mortar shop will be designated times to go and pick up their system without actually, stepping foot in the shops. But considering we've literally just today gone into another 1 month lockdown in the UK, and both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 are coming out during that lockdown, both in November. This is unprecedented. Sony are actually saying, you can't go in a local retailer and buy this thing. It will only be available online, like Amazon or wherever you want to go. So
it is a very responsible move. I got.
Oh yeah, it's totally responsible. It's just like it's kind of history breaking.
Yeah, because most people get so excited for a new console, they want to camp out and get it, don't they?
Yeah,
I've never been able to do that, but it sounds like fun.
I would do it if it wasn't for this time of year, or this type of year to be precise. But yeah, because it's going to be so cold out there, I definitely wouldn't be out there for a midnight launch.
I don't think I've ever been to one, but...
I don't think we're missing out.
No.
I do remember that even Nintendo once did a midnight launch party for the Super Nintendo Classic Edition at the New York City's Nintendo store. I saw a video of that. That was cool.
Yeah. So Sony here's what they actually said themselves. So in the interest of keeping our gamers, retailers and staff safe, we are confirming that all day of launch sales will be conducted through the online stores of our retail partners. No units will be available in store for purchase on launch day, November 12th or November 19th, depending on your region. Please don't plan on camping out or lining up at your local retailer on launch day in hopes of finding a PS5 console for purchase. Be safe, stay home, and place your order online. Stay at home and just book it on the internet. It's easier anyway. Let's be honest. Yeah. Have someone deliver it to you.
Yeah, who's got time to camp out now? Anyways,
it's too cold.
It's cold. It's wet. It's blah blah blah. I know, like places like Australia are in the middle of their summer and all, but yeah, it's not worth going outside.
No.
Yeah, not to mention that excitement for the console never lasts. Not to say that consoles end up bad after they launch. No, what happens is you think it's going to be the greatest thing in the world, and then it's just another console, a week or two later.
Well, plus you'll be too tired to play it anyway, so what's the point?
Especially because most games, game consoles don't actually launch with too many games. Sometimes there's exceptions, but most of the best games you're looking forward to, those don't come until at least a month later.
So just to let Murry Curry in on what we're talking about, basically Sony have announced that for the launch of the PlayStation 5, they're basically saying that you will not be able to buy a PlayStation 5 in a retailer. You'll have to buy them online.
Yeah, I saw a thing about Game, the shop retailer over here in the UK, basically urging people, please don't come to the shop and queue outside. Yeah.
Risk your lives.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can see why that's happened.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting to put this into. I think, not 100% sure, but I think this is the first time a console has been launched that you can only buy online. I think it might be a first, unless I'm mistaken, unless there's an exception.
It's a first, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going about the Xbox Series X yet, but I'm gonna assume because
They're probably going to follow suit.
Yeah, what's the launch date of the Series X? Because I know the PS5 is November 19th.
Yeah, the 10th
Okay.
worldwide.
Oh, okay. So it's only like a week before, or just over a week before. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with a similar statement.
Well, I've pre-ordered my Series S, and it is being delivered to me. And yeah, I paid it up front, so there's no reason for me to stay outside.
No, too right. They'll knock on your door and go, "Here you go. Here's your incredibly small next-gen console."
Yep.
In fact, thinking about it, probably by the next time we do a podcast, it would have launched, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
maybe.
So I might as well make a prediction and say games I've been playing next week is probably Yakuza 7.
Yeah,
that's probably be the same for me.
The game's already getting rave reviews, so I think you're going to have a good time.
Yeah. I've also heard people saying it's very grindy and much longer than the other ones.
I've heard that
goody.
as well. Even the storyline's supposed to be like much longer than the other games.
Wow.
So
Forward to that. Taking over your life for a while.
Yeah, from what I've read, there's going to be a few bits of DLC which were in the were paid DLC over in Japan, but over here they're going to be for free.
Okay.
So that's something interesting.
I wonder what that's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually know what kind of DLC that game had. I just know that there's those costumes that you get for pre-ordering that were worn by some Yakuza characters in the past. Like you get Kiryu's gray suit or his suit from Yakuza 0.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Ayama's suit for the girl. I forget her name.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there. I just thought that was quite interesting. The fact that,
Yeah, it is,
this is going to be the first launch of a major console that, isn't going to have loads of footage on the news of people scrambling to get it. All that kind of stuff. It's
which
a
I
time.
never understand. I really don't get.
Me neither.
I still can't believe we're at the point where the new Xbox is only a week away. Like, to me, it felt like we were still months away.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've even seen people like Giant Bomb and other gaming journalists saying how surreal it is that we literally only just saw what the PlayStation 5 even looks like a couple months ago, and now it's in their hands because game journalists are getting PlayStation 5s now, and they have not touched one until it's out. It's really bizarre. Most of the time when a console's coming, it's like a year away or whatever. They have played it. They've gone to gaming events. They've tried the controller. They've tried everything. Yeah, they've played all the games that are at gaming conventions, or they've got review copies, or they've got all this stuff. But it's gone. Done it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels like they're all on the same level as we are now, basically. Where the console is getting announced. The price is announced eventually, very eventually in the case of these two. They were literally playing a game of you go first, I win. It's just really surreal to me that, this thing's just out. They're both out very soon. And
5 days.
Yeah, just 5 days till the Xbox and then not much longer for the PS5. It's weird. Last time I went into a game shop, they did actually have a glass cabinet with replicas of the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X. And they were
this is what it looks like.
Yeah, this is the scale of them, I suppose. And the X is also incredibly big. These things are massive. I don't know if you guys watched the.
Actually, not set foot in a GameStop since the lockdown started.
Yeah.
Or in the store, really.
But I don't know if you watched the teardown videos, but the fan in the top of the Xbox Series X is about the size of a Dreamcast. It's ridiculous. I can't believe how big these consoles are. They really are just gaming PCs now. With the exception of the S. The S is so freaking diddly in comparison.
Even that's bad.
Below the exhaust vent on the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Massive.
So,
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. Right. So, speaking of, I guess launches of systems. I guess.
Mhm.
So, Raspberry Pi have just announced the Pi 400. And I'm going to just pop this on the screen, which is essentially, I guess the best way to describe it is it's a Raspberry Pi microcomputer.
Nice.
Basically, it's a keyboard, and you can also get a mouse and some other bits and bobs with it, with a Raspberry Pi built into it. And it's basically just a plug and play. Just go ahead and you got it, and it's done. You know, it's just like a faff-free Raspberry Pi. You don't have to buy a case for it. You don't have to do anything like that. It's got some mini HDMI's in the back, and you get like this USB mouse with it, and you're basically good to go. And you can connect it to Wi-Fi and just chuck your emulators or whatever on it, and it's all there. They've even straight up said themselves they were inspired by the design of the Amiga when they made this thing.
Hence why the name 400.
Yeah, like the Amiga 400, and the 500 and 500 plus and 1200, blah blah blah. But yeah, this is really cool. I did not expect to be, because I've always been on the fence about Raspberry Pi, because it's essentially I get the appeal of it. It's a tiny chip that lets you emulate things, so you don't need to do that on your PC, I suppose. And you know, the emulation's gotten better and better over the years as they've added more RAM, made better Raspberry Pis over the years. But yeah, I guess it was just like, I don't know. I like the idea of it, but now they've announced this thing, I'm kind of sold. Like, they've sold me on, because the way this looks, the way they have sort of sold this thing, the price of it and the size of it and what it does, this just feels like a revival of the microcomputer era. In a way, I'm really hoping we start seeing some rivals to this thing. Like, almost like if they want to do one of that FPGA emulation system called the Mister, if they wanted to do a all-in-one keyboard faffless version of that, that's my best way of describing it, faffless. I'd probably get one of those as well. Like, especially since I've been really, like just falling in love with like the Amstrad CPC, just like having fun with that old computer, putting tapes in it, waiting like almost 20 minutes for the games to load in, all that kind of stuff.
You can do a whole series with Gaga and Cherry don't have to faff about it.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like I kind of want to get these just to put home computer emulators on. So like, for example, C64, Amiga, if it can do Amiga well, C64, Spectrum, Amstrad, all that kind of stuff. Because it's got the keyboard and mouse. I presume you can plug controllers into it.
I may have pre-ordered one myself.
Yeah, I am very tempted, especially at the price.
Yeah,
so,
this is like, that's what made me dive for it.
So how much was your one? Where did you get it from?
I can't remember exactly the website it was from, but I looked up on.
Was it one of these
right now? It is. It's the OK Do.
Oh, okay.
Website.
Have a look.
Basically, I went on Raspberry Pi's website, and that's where you could buy it from. Basically, you got the UK English layout of the keyboard, you got American English layout of the keyboard, and you got French, German, Italian, and Spanish.
Okay.
So no matter where you are in the world, you're mostly covered.
Yeah,
but
plus look at the price. Look at the price. If you want the complete, it's £93.
Nice.
That's for the complete version that comes with a mouse and there's other little bits and bobs as well. You can also buy it without all the accessories, just a keyboard on its own, and then it's even cheaper.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was so tempted to buy just the keyboard itself, of the Pi 400 itself, but it's just made so much more sense just to spend a bit more on it, get the official OS.
Much more, was it? It was only a little bit. So like it has a 64-bit quad-core processor. It's got 4 gig of RAM. It can do wireless networking. It can do dual display output, apparently, and also 4K video playback. Yeah, and it's also got a 40-pin GPIO head or whatever that is. I don't actually know what that is.
It's basically you can program robotics from it.
Oh,
Mhm.
cool. Okay, all right. That's
Because
cool.
the Raspberry Pi is that versatile, you can
Yes.
actually just
I have heard of people
do anything.
doing robots with that thing. Yeah, like people have
I
actually
mean-
been making little Robot Wars things or whatever.
Yeah,
I could use it.
I mean, it's going to be a bit difficult with a whole keyboard attached to it if you're just going to run off and play Robot Wars with it. But
Yeah.
but the idea is there.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, Raspberry Pi 400 is also available as a standalone unit, which doesn't. I think the one with the mouse also comes with like a beginner's guide and all this kind of stuff, like a SD card or a load of stuff loaded on,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Yeah, I am really impressed by this thing. As soon as they revealed it, I was like, oh, okay, you've made a thing I have a need. Like you may have you've sold me on this concept now.
I like the idea of taking something like this and making it into a classic style computer, like an Amiga.
Yeah, definitely.
So I didn't even think about that until you said that was what you were planning for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously the first thing you think of with you know, a Raspberry Pi is you're going to emulate the NES and all that kind of stuff on it. But you know, even just from this, they're showing even just outside of using it as an emulation box, you can use this as a pretty simple computer. You know, you can browse the internet, you can watch 4K videos, you can, you know, do all your computer-y stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do with a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
For most, the first thing they think of is to make a retro game machine. But like, when you really get into the Raspberry Pi, there's all sorts of crazy things you could do with it.
Yeah. I'm just really glad that they've gone this route. I just really like the fact that it is a keyboard. You know, it really evokes the 80s and early 90s era of, you know, microcomputers. And
Absolutely.
That's super cool. I really want this to become a thing again.
And that's the thing. Microcomputers were a British thing, and thankfully a British company has come along and actually made one.
Yeah.
Made microcomputers
back in the
a thing
game.
again. Yeah.
Back in the game.
You know what this might be useful for? See, I actually used to work at a college where the whole place was littered with MacBook computers. So for people when they're traveling around the college facilities, if they need to browse the web for a hot second or to make some progress on a paper they're writing, they would use those MacBooks wherever they are. This would be a much cheaper solution for that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you will have to carry around a separate screen, but you can
they
buy screens
always
that small.
They do always have a screen for those MacBooks. Of course, nowadays, if people need to use the internet, they just use their smartphones. See, I stopped working at the college before smartphones took over the world, so I don't know what they're doing for that nowadays. I don't know if they just took the computers away. But for colleges, I think this could really be an interesting development.
Yeah,
some companies
they do have a page on there about if you wanted to buy these Pi 400s for education, so there is that as well.
Yeah, I imagine that would be really good for like coding workshops.
Yeah, definitely.
For teaching students how to write code, because there's going to be a lot more of that in schools now.
Oh, definitely. There already is, but like,
I was supposed to say over here.
But now they don't have to. They don't have to go out of their way to buy a bunch of keyboards and mice and plug them all in and fiddle about with like just having a spare circuit board hanging around.
Right, because that adds up, especially in the case of that college where all the computers they got were Apple computers.
Yeah,
those are really not cheap.
No.
Like colleges, colleges. All of college culture, at least in America, they swear by Apple for whatever strange reason. The art college I went to was all MacBooks everywhere too, and
I mean, trust me, they are good computers. You get what you pay for with those things.
Like every student had a MacBook as well. I was one of the few that didn't.
Yeah. So yeah, this thing is coming out very soon, if I remember rightly. Do you know what the release date was?
I'm guessing mine on the 9th, so 24 hours before the Xbox One S.
Wow.
So Xbox Series S.
There you
Sorry.
go. Xbox Series X or S versus Pi 400.
Yeah.
Oh,
First one that comes with my letterbox wins.
I
The others
just
get chucked away.
I just realised we've got a lot of money coming out this month.
Bullshit.
Over the next week and a bit, I think we've got 2 major purchases coming out of pre-orders. We got Yakuza 7. We went for the Steelbook, and then we got that Game & Watch that's coming out soon, isn't it?
Oh, the Mario Game & Watch.
Yeah. Money.
Yeah, at the moment I'm still on the fence about whether I want to pre-order a Astro City Mini, and now I'm eyeing up this Pi 400 thing as well. It's like, where's all the money gonna go?
All the nice stuff coming out at once.
Yeah, and I'm not even, and this is coming from someone that's not even interested in buying a next gen console. You know, like even just the stuff that's not related to those is cool. Ah, yeah, Astro City Mini is in a little while over a month.
But that's not
reminded me.
That's not over here though, is it?
Yeah, no, you got if you want to pre-order that, you have to get it from Amazon. You can get it from Amazon Japan, and they will ship it. But yeah,
I really, really want one. How much are they asking for it?
How much was your pre-order, Hunk Thunder?
I think just about £180.
Oh, God.
But that's with the 2 controllers as well.
Oh yeah, you ordered.
So we don't have to be hunched over.
Right.
Oh yeah, you bought 2 little controllers as well, didn't you? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really want one.
Right.
I wonder if Sorry, go.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, I wonder if it would be cheaper to just buy one when we eventually get over to Japan.
Probably would be, but who knows when that will be?
Yeah, exactly.
At this rate, who knows? But yeah.
We very foolishly booked tickets for April to go to LA. That's not going to happen.
Wow, really?
No, not LA, is it? It's
We haven't booked them yet.
Oh, I thought we did.
No.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good then. Because I don't think by April, I don't think we're going to be able to go. But the plan is April, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to go somehow.
Right. So,
sorry, yeah.
I think that'll do for the news. It's actually quite a bit this week. In the end, a lot of it over the last 24 to 48 hours. But yeah, there we go. That's just how these things go. Like, if we did this podcast yesterday, we wouldn't have had half the news we had today. So
it would have been the typical case of all the news breaks just after the podcast.
Yeah, so stay tuned tomorrow when loads of news happens. Gaming news. Emphasis on gaming news.
There's another bit of news happening tomorrow.
This is why most gaming podcasts do their show on Friday or the weekend.
Yeah, we've always done. Our most common day has always been Monday in the past, but we're trying to be a bit more flexible with it now because obviously we're trying to squeeze these things around everyone doing their Twitch channels and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, talking of which, I need to get set up.
Oh yeah, right. So I guess with that, we should probably wrap this one up. I guess because I think that went good, and thankfully there weren't too many fireworks on my end. They actually calmed down as soon as we started, for the most part.
Yeah, same here.
I was really worried this podcast was going to be a complete cacophony of just all the time, the whole time we're doing this thing. But thankfully, there was just the odd one.
Yeah, mine outside my window is pretty bad. So thankfully, the minutes wasn't too far away.
Yeah,
I forgot.
It's not picking up at all.
We didn't actually hear any fireworks during the podcast, did we?
Yeah,
that's what I'm being thankful for.
Yeah, I heard a few right at the start, just as we were setting up, and it's been pretty good.
Around 7:30, it was absolutely crazy here, and I was like, "Oh my god, if it's going to be like that all night." That's why I put all these pops and bangs and fizzes on the thumbnail as like a warning, just in case, just so people know what they're getting into, just in case it was a complete disaster. And
we were setting some off before the podcast as well.
Just welcome to the podcast.
The podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. So I think with that we shall wrap up, and I have been the Gagaman.
I've been CherryT and Elk.
I've been Murry Curry.
I've been Hunk Thunder. Get well soon, Shelf Gamer.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, of course. We
And
completely forgot to mention that Shell Gamer couldn't make it.
The old schooler. You want a trip? I'll give it to you. The joke I did when we fudged up the beginning of the podcast today.
Yeah.
That's big
yeah.
help.
Yeah, get well, Shelf Gamer. I know he's feeling a bit under the weather today, so yeah, get well soon. Yeah. Awkward silence.
Bye, everybody.
Get lost. Don't ever come back. Unless you click the like and subscribe buttons, in which case you're welcome to come back next week.
Don't forget the notification button.
And don't forget the bell.
That bell. Tap it like a budgie.
I don't know.
Tap my bill. Good
Like
night,
a-
everyone.
Tap it like a budgie.
What? Tap it like a
Thrust.
budgie.
End there. Perfect.
Done. Right. We will see you later. Bye.
Bye. We've got a podcast.